Welcome. Thank you for joining Stoner Detectives. Today I want to talk about the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. Not many people are covering this case, and I think it's important to put the word out there on what is going on in this case, and hopefully justice is served and Celeste Rivas is able to rest in peace. Now, I want to go over the latest on this case. I have a tweet up by Lauren. She's a reporter at the LA Mag. I also have a tweet from SF Steve Fisher Investigates. He has been covering this case intensively as well, and he has been keeping us informed, those that are seeking justice for Celeste. Now, there's court documents on this case that I also want to share with you guys. I am going to do this as a pre-recorded live stream just in case I need to edit some things out or whatnot. Hopefully I am just able to get through this once for you guys. Okay, so here we go. Let's get started. I read this morning. Let me make sure you guys are seeing my screen. Okay, perfect. There we go. Celeste Rivas Hernandez deserves better. It's infuriating that we are approaching 6 months and no charges have been filed in her murder. If the evidence hasn't been secured by now, what exactly is happening? Is this a blown investigation? These are fair questions. We now know these monsters sawed off Celeste Rivas' arms and legs. How do we know that? Let's not call it dismemberment. He says that word sounds clinical, like a surgeon removed her limbs. That is not what happened. A vicious, sick group of people brutally hacked her arm and legs off her body. A vicious, sick group of people indeed. Was she alive when they started? Holy crap, you guys. This is trigger warning. And yes, I'm using plural terms because in my professional opinion, there's no way one person did this alone. Whether participating directly or acting as an accessory, yet only one individual is named as a target in the court filings. That's what we're going to review. We're going to review the court filings, okay? Like you, Neil Christopher Langston, you knew. I've seen family members publicly defend him and threaten lawsuits against anyone who names him. Sue me, I beg. Please sue me. He's not messing around here. Give me subpoena power. Give me the power of discovery because that may be the only way that the truth comes out. I beg of you. File that defamation suit, he says. Oof. Steve knows. Steve knows something about Neil. 6 months, no charges, no press conference. LAPD. 6 months, no charges, no press conference. That's for you. That's for you, LAPD. The LAPD and the district attorney's office did issue a press release stating they had the medical examiner's autopsy and investigative findings sealed so detectives could review them first, claiming it was not meant to undermine transparency. They got that information, yet the records remain sealed. That press release misled the public. That press release was a lie. Oh, Steve is not pulling any punches today, man. Another press release suggested the only potential criminal culpability might be concealment of a body. They said that knowing Celeste's arms and legs had been sawed off. They said that knowing Celeste's arms and legs were sawed off, you guys. Could you imagine this? This is how we're treating our young 14-year-old Latinas. Latinas, how Meg Kelly would say. Is that how we're treating them now? Admit that nearly 6 months, the investigation has not produced sufficient evidence to charge David, Anthony Burke, or anyone else who participated or was an accessory. Admit it's a blown investigation. Or I'd take it a step further, Steve. Admit it's a fucking cover-up. Admit it's a fucking cover-up. Admit that important evidence was left behind after the search warrant. Admit that critical surveillance was lost because nobody followed up to obtain it. Or not. Or not, Steve. It just may not have been lost. They may have it. Okay. Then let's do this. Let's continue. Trigger warning. Celeste's head and torso were placed in one cadaver bag. Her arms and legs were placed in another. Someone purchased cadaver bags. This was all planned. I knew it. There's no way she would have overdosed and freaking crawled her ass into the fucking trunk. LAPD. There's absolutely no way. It's not an OD. Now we know she was sawed. Now we know she was dismembered. Trigger warning. They cut her apart, placed her remains inside those bags, put her in the trunk of a Tesla, and went on with their lives. They purchased cadaver bags. They purchased these bags. LAPD, what the fuck are you doing, LAPD? Do something, bro. And still 6 months later, there are no charges, no accountability, silence, sealed records. Threaten me with your contempt all you want, he says. I will probably take the contempt charge in the pursuit of justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. 6 months is enough. Amen. Praise God. Hallelujah. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. I hope the truth comes out. I hope the truth is revealed. All right, here is the full 151-page court filing for anyone willing to read it, and I am willing to read it, Steve. Thank you. I like how he said for anyone willing to read it. I really wish more people were willing to read it. I really wish that more eyes were on this case. It just infuriates me. It infuriates me because had she been a white young woman, there would have been charges. I don't know why this is happening. Why are we like this? Why are we like this? 'Cause she was a runaway. Okay, let me share my other screen because we're going to get into this filing. How do I do this? Share. Okay. Identification of the parties. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this here. This is dated January 21. This is to father DeWoot Burke. Says it right here. Detectives were advised that on August 26, 2025, a citizen reported the above mentioned Tesla as abandoned. Vehicle parked across from 1405 Bluebird Street on August 27, 2025. Department of Transportation officers responded to Bluebird and marked the vehicle on September 3rd. They issued a citation on the 5th. They had it towed to the Hollywood area tow. It was noted that it was registered to David Anthony Burke. Obviously, his Tesla. He even went and took out another Tesla after this one was gone. He cannot fucking say it's not his Tesla. David, who was a singer and performing artist, was on tour at the time his vehicle was impounded. Detectives learned that DeWoot Burke is the father of target David Burke and has a close relationship with him. The witness, DeWoot Burke, date of birth September 5th. Of course, we share the same birthday. Fucking A. 1979, too. He's a young father. He's a young dad. 79? All right, so basically, this is saying that David's dad was summoned to testify. Let's go on. Then they denied their habeas corpus, which means that the court denied their habeas corpus. They were summoned and the court denied it. So let's see. Okay, here we go. Like I said, I want to just read the meat and potatoes of it all. So, Miss Magnus, if you'll bring me up to speed, Miss Magnus says, so Judge, I'm stepping into this last minute as well, but my understanding, we're talking about a 14-year-old child found in the trunk of a Tesla, dismembered remains. Have a little more respect. Show a little more respect, okay? I beg you. So, Judge, I'm stepping into this last minute as well. My understanding is that there is a grand jury investigation that is being conducted in California. In LA, these two individuals have been summoned to appear for purposes of the grand jury presentation. The prosecutors in LA have executed all the paperwork that is necessary. It has gone before, I believe they call them the Superior Court judge there. Mm. So, on behalf of Colleen Burke, our position is that the request or the summons and the request for issuance of the subpoena is unconstitutional, violating the Texas and the United States Constitution. It denies the witness, Colleen, notice and due process. Okay, this is what they're fighting. Okay. Mm-mm. So, according to the redacted affidavit, this is what the DA, the district attorney, is saying. We talked to the prosecutor, and Bennett Dodson, was the prosecutor who's handling this. And he's like, guys, everything apparently must be under seal. The only thing I can give you is the actual subpoena, which he did. But all it says is you're supposed to appear before a grand jury. He said, you got to take that up with someone else. So, as it stands now, we don't even have the ability to go forward to show that the testimony of the witness is not material, not necessary. And because it's supposed to set out in the petition and certificate, according to 24.28, it's supposed to set out the length of time that the witness appearance will take place in California. We can't even contest undue hardship at this point. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. What? It says in the affidavit in support of the subpoena request, it sets out his testimony is material and necessary because he's made statements to numerous people that he has identified. He has the identity of the murderer. So the DA in San Diego wanted testimony as to who was the murderer. Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. Okay, so the attorneys in Texas are saying they haven't received any paperwork, right? And obviously, all I have is contempt power. So the attorneys are asking the LA to unseal the documents, the court documents. So let's see what they say. Let's see what they say here. They're saying, I mean, I don't know how free they are to disclose. If you can't disclose what's in the affidavit, I don't know. I mean, I'd be happy to cross-examine one or both of them, but I don't know if that's what they want to do. But when you're not given that notice, then we don't even get to the substantive part. We're still on the procedural part about notice and due process. And if and it could be that after you, if on Wednesday you send me whatever the DA authorizes you to give me or the court authorizes, I might tell you we don't even need a hearing, just sign an order and we'll go. Let the record reflect that after being off the record, we discussed kicking this case down the road, kicking the can down the road for a little bit so that we can make sure that all parties, including the court, has the proper paperwork to review in case and possibly if a hearing is needed. And it might be the fact that fit needed on the defense doesn't feel like it's warranted that we might have a waiver for this issue, but we've decided the parties are going to work through it, see if they can work a resolution. Okay, here we go. So this is the proceedings that this is what David's family filed. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's what David's family filed. So when they received the subpoena, the people of the state of the California versus David Burke, David Burke, witness DAWUD. Here's the file number. Okay, so let the record reflect that Mr. Kennedy is here on behalf of Caleb Burke, who is present in the courtroom. So Caleb is David's brother. Okay. So with regard to Ms. Colleen Burke, and obviously the argument is going to be the same for all of them. Our office has received a request from the district attorney's office in Los Angeles Superior Court for the state of California. And both Texas and California are signatories. In the case of the state of California, has issued a summons for these three individuals. Mr. Caleb, Colleen, and Dawood, for them to appear at a grand jury proceeding in California. They are requesting the way the process works is they file a petition for a certification. I have detectives here from Los Angeles who are here to make those arrangements for transportation, so the element is satisfied. It's my understanding the contention of the defendants is that they're not receiving enough notice to know what they need to do on the case. While I certainly sympathize, Judge, it is a grand jury subpoena. That's just the nature of it. I have a California case law that reaffirms that grand jury proceedings are secret. That's just the nature of the beast. Judge, you do not get information about what you're being subpoenaed to testify for in front of a grand jury. I think even when there are redactions in here, I have unredacted copies of that petition for the court to review so the court can make its own factual findings if it wishes. However, the law also provides that the findings of the judge in California are prima facie evidence of the matters stated therein. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. There's already been a petition to a judge in California of a similar scope and authority as this court who has made those findings already. So in this case, Judge, I would ask that the court finds the witnesses are necessary and material. Okay, so I'm asking you to find that it will not cause them undue hardship. And again, LAPD detectives are here to make sure that they get a flight, they get a hotel, they get a room lodging, that it will not cause undue hardship to them, and that the court issues those subpoenas on behalf of California. Okay, Mr. Martinez. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, we received from the state. Mm. And from what I understand is that the state gave the court an unredacted version of the document as well, so everybody knows that this affidavit fully states except the person that is being compelled to appear in court. So our request at this point in time, what David's family is demanding or fighting is that the state provide the full unredacted version of the affidavit that was presented to the judge in California. This redaction wasn't even done by a prosecutor in LA. It was done by prosecutors in the state. So our first request at this point is for the state to turn over the unredacted version of the affidavit. And I know what the argument's going to be. The argument's going to be, well, this is the grand jury material. This whole affidavit is grand jury material. The unredacted portion of it goes into the details of the case, who the target of the investigation is. And you guys, how can a prosecution show their hand, right? Think about it. You're going to case. You have evidence against someone. How are you going to show your hand? Then the defense will be ready. It makes sense to me. It does. The prosecutor cannot pick and choose what evidence in this affidavit is going to be redacted and what portion of the affidavit is going to give to us. What do you mean? I don't get it. So because it's under a grand jury, they're not able to disclose the evidence? I don't know. They really don't have to give you any of the grand jury material, but they did anyway. Oh, shit. So you got more than you probably should have gotten, and you were put on notice. It's for grand jury. It's secret. Why isn't that enough? Oh, shit. The only thing this says about Mrs. Burke is that she has a close relationship with her son, per several witnesses. She is instrumental to his career success and manages his business finances. That's all it says. So mom's like, okay, yeah, but I get it. But still, this. This shit is interesting. Okay, so I'm confused. Mr. Martinez, this says kind of like what Mr. Dodson was saying. It says we hold that the certificate from the requesting state setting out that the witness's material and necessary is sufficient to support the trial court's findings of that fact in this state. So, if anything, this case hurts your case. The way I'm reading it, where am I missing? Where am I not reading it correctly? Mr. Martinez goes, after a hearing, if you see arms, the defendant actually testified. Yeah, but we don't have that here. They tried to come under double jeopardy because a court here said they weren't material, and then another court said they were material, and that was the focus issue here. Okay, so what? So they're trying to figure out if they're material witness or not material witnesses. Is there somewhere in California where the court says they're not material? Mr. Martinez says, we don't. I don't know the answer. I assume that they found the material after reviewing the entire packet, but there's where arms is really instructive. If you look at the procedure of arms, a California signs off on a certificate. Attached to that certificate, is the affidavit from, I believe to be law enforcement officials or a district attorney. The affidavit lists out all of the reasons why that witness material and why they're necessary. That entire packet, unredacted, untouched, makes it to a state court in Texas. That is not what happened here. What happened here is a California judge receives a certificate, receives an affidavit that's unredacted, and then sends it over to the state. The state then probably at the request of California, although I don't know, goes in and actually redacts information from that affidavit. Mr. Dodson said, Judge, I have to object to misstatements of fact. That's not true. These packets have been forwarded to the court in their unredacted entirety. Then Mr. Martinez goes, well, we have the redacted version. What we are getting is a redacted affidavit. That I'm not talking. I don't know what you have, or if you have the unredacted version, but what we have is a redacted portion. The defendant in arms got the entire thing without any redactions, and that's why arms is important, because that is the proper procedure to follow in these sort of situations. So this case, they are bringing up arms, ARMES. It turns out they received the unredacted information, and that's what they're fighting. They want the unredacted affidavit. That's what David's family wants. We have found no case where after a document has been signed by a judge, then makes it to another state, and then it's redacted without the California judge even knowing about it. And then here's why that's important, because, Your Honor, a Texas court is not a rubber stamp for the California court. The statute is clear. Oh, fuck me. Okay, this is a minimum notice. Arms also says that the reason why this statute is in place is for due process. Well, the basic requirement of due process is notice, and notice to be able to be rebut evidence where the statute says that there's material necessary. We can't do that there. There's no way for us to move forward in the redacted affidavit that we have. So Mr. Dodson says, Judge, I would ask that the defense point where in the arms case that it says that the defendant got discovery or anything, because I don't see that in here. The court says the petition is in the file because of course because of course it has to be for an appeal, but it does not say anywhere in here that the petition was served on the defendant or that there was a discovery hearing or anything. Oh, shit. Then Mr. Martinez is saying, wait, hold on. So Dotson is saying, wait, because if you read the statute, there is not a word, the word notice doesn't appear here. It just says that the court shall have a hearing and make that determination. If the court makes that determination, it issues a summons to the defendant. The they're correct that it doesn't, it says we, it doesn't say anything about redacting the document because it doesn't say anything about giving them the document at all. As I stated, the matters that they got are matters that already are in the public record. They are in the newspaper. There are still matters in there that are under seal, and I don't know what the court in California did, but for them to represent that my office fiddled with the document somehow is just simply not true. Oh shit. Damn. So Martinez goes, he told me before we started this hearing, he told me that he's the one that redacted this. Then Mr. Dotson says, Judge, I'm talking about the copy they handed them. Mr. Martinez is here representing the court to the court that the court must have received an edited copy somehow, which is not true. I agree. Mr. Martinez, I'm talking about what we got. What we got is redacted. And then Mr. Dotson said yes. The court says, I understand, I got it. Then Mr. Dotson says, and Judge, the court, and then the court says, and I did receive the unredacted, so I have read it. So then, oh shit, Mr. Dotson goes, and Judge, I would point to the statute that it mentions that a copy of the certificate shall be attached to the summons. Why does the defense need a certificate? A copy? If according to the defense argument, it says they should already get everything. I just don't see where that is anywhere. And again, like the court said, I would fall back on grand jury proceedings are secret. And before the advent of blank in text, I say blank because I don't know this statute. There was no general right to discovery in a criminal case, and that's still the case for grand jury proceedings. So Dotson is continuing. They're saying again, I think the material that they got were provided gives them more than sufficient notice. If there is a notice requirement, which there isn't, because it talks about the car with a dismembered body in it, is registered to their address. That alone would make it necessary and material. And I do agree. I do agree. I had no idea that the grand jury was not technically, they're not supposed to give you the affidavit even, and they did. The court says, okay, I understand. I think I have a good grasp of the law, the way I'm looking at it. But at this point, do you want to call your witness to put up do y'all, I guess, to these people, like, I can read. They're just not knowing how to type here. I mean, do y'all, I guess, does the defense want to concede that it's not going to be that the state is going to pay for their getting there? Do you want a testimony as to that? Or, in other words, they're saying they're going to pay. I just need to know how y'all feel about that, about the whole hardship thing. Let's see what they say about that. Oh, I'm 100. Holy shit. I'm 105 pages in. Oh my God. You know what? Let's end it there. Okay. So, wait, let's go back. All right. So, we left off. Yeah, because this is way too much. So, I'm going to do this in two parts, two or three parts, which makes a lot of sense. I think we covered a lot, though. So, I'm going to leave it off. Leave it off. I'm gonna leave not it off. I'm gonna leave off where, yeah, let's do 18. I think I'm up to 18. Sorry, no, I read 18. Okay, here, 19. Let's end it here. This is where the court says, "Okay, I understand. I think I have a grasp of the law and what I'm looking at here." Okay, so, um, I wanna end it there. Um It's so hard for me to do these lives because I have a regular job and I have a lot of responsibilities on my plate right now, but yeah, I definitely wanted to come on here and give you guys an update on Celeste case because I'm just mad. I'm just mad. I can't even imagine. I can't. Like, no, no. Do the right thing. That's that. I'm gonna end it like that on that note. You know what, LAPT, like, just do the right thing, please. That's what we're asking. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Peace.